Welcome to the HMO Property Show. By investors, for investors. Catch us weekly as we discuss all things cash flow positive property investing. Whether you're a seasoned investor, a new landlord, or just curious about property investing, this is the podcast for you. Sponsored by the Co-Living Collective, your trusted partner in creating vibrant and sustainable shared living experiences. Visit us at colivingcollective.com.au to learn more.
Welcome back to the HMO Property Show, and you've got me, Jo Gibb, as your host for today.
And I'm still here in the background, don't worry. And we thought we'd do something a little bit different today and bring in my beautiful wife to talk about where we are heading with the business and with the new, I suppose, focus that you are having in the business. And for people that don't know the journey, if you haven't been following us for that long, firstly, welcome. We will give you a little bit of a background about who we are now, we've got to where we are now, and then we'll talk about what Jo's going to be doing after taking some time out to have our beautiful children. Yes. And now she's back and she is as hungry as ever to have more impact. So welcome back, I suppose.
Thank you.
And yeah, she is going to be running some podcasts of her own soon as well. So if you are well and truly sick of my voice, then there is some reprieve coming. So, Jo, give us a little bit of background on who were you before we got into property? Like, what were you doing? How have we ended up in Australia? What's the background on this?
Yeah, wow, starting right from the beginning. So, I guess many moons ago we met. We've actually been together 20 years. It'll be our 21st year at the end of this year, which is incredible. And I guess when we started our relationship, I was in the marketing side. You're in the electrical space, as an electrician, Sparky. And, you know, you took the plunge to come to Australia first because of the oil and gas industry. And when I joined you about 12, 13 years, I'm losing track.
Yeah, I was here for 2 years, wasn't I, on my own? And then,
yeah. When I joined you, I was still in the marketing space and very different to the days in London, coming to Perth, very small and not very huge in that marketing industry. Yeah, we just pretty much started for... What did I come? 2013, maybe it was 2013, and it was 2015. We built our house we moved into the house that we built in Hammond Park.
Yeah.
So that was our first home that we had built together. We'd renovated a property in the UK together in the past, but that was the first house that we built.
Yep.
You worked away.
I was doing flying out at the time. Let's talk about that. You came in 2013. I just got into the kind of seminar buzz, didn't I?
Yes.
Yeah. You were freaking out that I was spending all our money on all these events.
Well, you're a bit of a magpie at times, Mr. Gibb, so if there's anything shiny, he'll run to it. But yeah, you were going, I think it was Lammy, your good friend Lammy. He pulled you into an investment seminar, and I remember you ringing me saying, oh, it's $5,000, but can I sign up? And I'm like, oh my God, here we go. It's going to be like a one thing after another. But I guess I wasn't in that space. My head was very much like, is this going to be a waste of money? What's he doing?
You were a very corporate ladder climber at the time,
yes.
weren't you?
Yeah. In a way, I think, like, I've always known my dad always had his own company. I always wanted a company of my own. But I don't think investment was ever on my radar in that sense. It was more about build up yourself in your career and then step away and do that career as your own business. So I thought I was going to have my own marketing agency one day. That was like in my head.
Yeah.
But you were kind of looking at this different angle, and we were having such a great lifestyle at that space. Like, we were both earning good money, and we could spend. Well, we were spending too much money.
You were spending just as much as you were earning, sometimes more. Like, I came back from working offshore with. The oil and gas industry is a very choppy industry. You're like in work for a long time, then you're out. And I was working as a contractor, and we spent all the money that I earned plus the tax money that was supposed to pay the tax man, didn't we?
Yes. Yeah. So when you say $5,000 on a course, I'm like thinking, well, can that $5,000 be spent in Bali? You know?
Yeah. And it's you think back to them times, right? $5,000, it was a lot of money at the time, right? And it's interesting. Could we have spent that on a course? Could we have done something different? I mean, I always go by this saying, live a few years like most people won't, so you can live the rest of your life like most people can't. And it was a very hard change for us to pull back from weekends away, cheeky little trips to Bali, cars that we wanted to drive, places that we wanted to go, people that we wanted to spend time with, and we literally turned into hermits for 3 years and turned our lives around, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and I think just while we're on that track of being able to change focus and give up those things, I remember at the same time it wasn't just about learning a different strategy in what we can do with our money. So obviously we were doing you were going to more investment courses, we were then trying to do different strategies within the investment space, which I thought was incredible, because we were doing all these things that I never even thought possible or had heard of in the past.
Like what?
Like when we were taking options on properties, so we optioned a property without buying the property. So we give the guy, I think it was like 20 grand, 10 grand, for us to pretty much take possession of his house, do a full renovation on it, and then it was only when it sold we gave him the money he wanted for it, so we could like keep that uplift, which I just thought was magic. And then we were doing a lot more renovating, both of us. I actually loved them days on the tools. I remember having a tool belt and like a little beer in my tool belt. I was like, painting
until 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, takeaways. Loved it. But it wasn't just about learning a new investment. There was a lot of personal development that was happening along the way. And I remember you very much have always took the lead in this. And I remember thinking, this is getting a bit... he's getting really into this, and I can see a change in him. And if I don't get on board with this, I don't feel like we'll last in a relationship. So it was very important that I feel that even though we were learning these different skill sets in the investment space, that personal development route that we also went down, that you led, it was important that I got on that train, because I feel like you hear that a lot, that people don't get on board with someone else doing that development work.
Did you feel like you didn't need it at the time?
Oh yes, because I was massively in my ego and thought I knew better.
Well, like, we were both doing well in our jobs, right? So you had a swanky title, good income. Like, on the outset, life looked good, right? But then this is the kind of trap that we talk about, this middle income or the middle class trap, where people are just doing okay, and like they haven't got their eye on the future. And that's one thing we didn't have, right? We were just living for the moment, weekends, trips, cars, holidays, all them fancy things, which are good, don't get me wrong, we enjoy them now, but we can afford to do them now, right? It's a totally different type of thing. So yeah, I mean, that's quite a bit of background there. We haven't even started talking about the property stuff, really, have we? Personal development's a big thing. We're both really into it. We both still do something at least once a year where we're working on or with somebody specifically. We've got the same mentors, we've got different mentors together. I think it's a very powerful combination. One of our mentors says 2 is more powerful than 1, and it absolutely is, isn't it?
100%, yeah.
So where have you been anyway? What have you been doing? You just made this comeback all of a sudden.
Yeah, well, I think like it's a really good part to talk about our story, right? So we were living this good life, then we reined it in, because then we wanted to focus on what does our future look like. And whilst we were on this personal development journey, it was one of our mentors that called out that we didn't have children. So we discussed as to why we didn't have children, and it went back to the Huntington's disease, which is in your family. And I knew, even though we've been together for such a long time, my first few years with you, it was that decision that I don't think we'll ever have children, right? Because your father had just passed with Huntington's, and he would just hit 40.
Yeah. 2007 he passed away. So yeah, it'd have been... I think he was 40. Did he even make his 40th? Was it 30? I think it was 39, wasn't it? So he didn't make his 40th. So yeah, it was 31st of October, Halloween. He passed away, and the 7th of December would have been his 40th. So he passed away when he was 39. Yeah.
So obviously, I think we'd been together only about a couple of years, year or two. And I remember going to meet your dad, and could realise that how much of an effect that has. If your partner had that, it's massive to see somebody going through a struggle like that. And obviously now your sister, who's my age, Laura, who has been on end-of-life treatment for, this will be coming up the 3rd year. 3 Christmases ago, we thought that, it was coming to an end for her, and she's kept going. But she's been in a home since before I left to come out here. So it's such a tragic, awful disease, but one that we were never comfortable of. Well, I definitely didn't ever want you to be tested for it because it would change our whole trajectory, I think, mindset-wise, as to if you know you've got something like this that isn't curable, how does that affect your future? Anyway, the mentor, Brett, had said, there's actually different ways that you can have children, and he sent some information around IVF non-disclosure route, where it was taking the embryos.
Yeah,
it was testing, so it was only putting your mum's side of you, in the embryos.
It was called pre-implantation IVF, where they create the embryo, but then they test the embryo to see if it had any of my dad's genes in. They didn't test for the defective gene, but they didn't want to take that chance, or they could have been disregarding healthy embryos. And when we started going down that path and speaking to the psychologist, he was a guy that had been around Huntington's for quite a long time, and he said to me, I've been studying you since you've come into this room, and he goes, like, you are steady on your feet, you're strong, you're athletic, you have got good cognition. There's a lot of things here that make me think, as somebody that operates in this space, that you don't have this. I'm not saying for certain that you definitely don't, but there's a very strong chance that you don't. So you can either go down this route and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and it might not even work, or you can get tested.
And that would just made me want to throw up. I was like, oh my God, that's definitely not something that I wanted to ever have to go down, because I always said I'd choose you over family any day. Now that I've got a family, I'm like, oh gosh, like, I don't know if I can make that statement again.
And it's quite, to get to that stage and be asked that question, and, luckily we've got some really good people in our lives. I leaned on some very close friends, leaned on Brett, again, a good friend and a good mentor, and had some really good conversations with people around the consequences and the outcomes and where this is going. And we decided to take the plunge and get the test, and they said it would take maximum 3 months, and it literally, on the death knock of the last day of the 3 month, you reached out to them to see what was going on, and they said, we've actually received the results today.
And she said, do you want to come in, or do you want to do it on Zoom? And we were in the office, weren't we? And we were like, I don't want even the drive in, let's just get on Zoom straight away. So I remember coming out of my office, going into your office, sat on the Zoom call, and she just read it out that you were negative. And honestly, everyone in the office thought somebody had died. The howling, like, I was just... We just cried. Like, it was just such an emotional...
We went to a restaurant and got a bottle of champagne and sat there crying while we drank it. I don't know whether the people in the restaurant were thinking, are these guys celebrating, or have they lost somebody, or what's going on?
It was crazy. But I think that just had this massive change on its focus and everything, right? So it became we want to do this. We've always wanted to do this to have a good life for ourselves, but now we want to do this to make sure that we have a good life for our family.
And at this stage, we were already in a relatively good position. We had a portfolio of investment properties. The business was growing well. We were in the office that we're in now, so we'd already grew out of our home office and our first office, and we were in the second office with a team of about 12, 15 people, I reckon, by that time. And, not that it was ever clouding my judgment, not that it was ever holding me back, but it was kind of like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders, and then it was one less thing you needed to worry about, because even though it wasn't on my mind on a daily basis, it's just there in the back of your mind, right? And then all of a sudden the shackles are off, and then, once we stopped crying...
Well, we went to our friend's wedding. Can you remember? Our Jess and Chris got married, and we'd gone to the wedding on that evening. Yeah. And then that weekend we went out and celebrated on the Saturday night, and... we literally made a baby. We
fell pregnant that weekend. Bear in mind, like Jo said, we've been together for coming up 21 years now, and we to fall pregnant that weekend was, obviously the universe and the stars aligning, right? So,
absolutely. Yeah. So I guess that takes me as to why I've been not out of the game. I'd say I think that when we decided that we were going to try for children, we always discussed what that kind of meant for us, in the sense of the business, because you know me so well, in the fact that I can't, I love being busy and I love to have my mind always going, and the business meant a lot to me, and I just love getting stuck in there and doing things in the business. So I had said, like, I don't think I can be a full-time stay-at-home mum. I don't think it's in my blood. Like, I've got a lot of love for my family and want to be there for them, but I need a bit of me as well. So, we agreed that that was important. So when we had Freddie, 2.5 years ago now, he's 2.5, my goodness. One of my besties, Tan, she said she'd look after him. So she looks after, both of them now, 3 days a week. She's incredible. She's a second mum to them.
Auntie Tan.
She's the best. So I think he was 6 weeks old and she started, but I was very much at home and trying to tap in and out of things.
Yeah.
But we had put a general manager in place to really take me away.
So prior to that, you were running the property management business. It was a role that you did but didn't really enjoy. It didn't light you up. And now we've got Jasmine, and we've had Jasmine on the podcast. A lot of the people that we're talking about today have been on the podcast. Maybe we should get Auntie Tan on the podcast as well.
Yeah, well, if she is, I have got plans for that.
Yeah, but people like Brett Jones, Jasmine's been on, for instance. A lot of the people that I spoke to, Angad Singh was one of them, very close friend of mine. He's been on the podcast with Adam Barry from Perth Property Developers. So a lot of these people in my circle, I've already exposed to everybody on the podcast, and I feel very fortunate with the people that we've got in our lives. 100%.
Absolutely, yeah.
100%. So property management, or running the property management team, although it was, what I see is kind of like the missing piece of the puzzle to, well, it was actually, that's how we started, right? We said it was a property management business to manage our own properties, and then people started asking us to help them convert their properties, which then we set up HMO Property Co as a kind of property management business to feed, at the time, J&G Property Group, which is now Living Rooms. We rebranded. And then people started asking us to act as a buyer's agent and find properties and convert them, so that was a natural add-on to that. And then as the market started heating up, more and more people started asking us about new builds. So then we got into the property development space and started building purpose-built 6-bedroom HMOs and 5-bedroom HMOs at the time for our clients. And then that started scaling, and that's when we partnered with Troy. And now Troy looks after all the construction, and I look after sales and marketing, sorry.
It's a whirlwind,
isn't it just? And then, now the kids are growing up, not grown up yet. No, I've got another, I keep reminding myself that there's 16 years before I kick Freddie out.
Yes.
But that means that Jo's now back in the business with more time, more headspace, more energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm still not getting sleep on a night, but definitely, I think as a mum, you just get used to that.
And a new focus. So what's the new focus that you're bringing to the business?
Yeah, so you've touched on before, I headed up the property management side, and my mum was the head of property management at the time. I was licensee, and then since we got Jasmine in as general manager, and she also took over as licensee, so me being bona fide in control, I could step away, which was awesome to give me more headspace. And coming from more of a creative background, I need something that I think everyone needs something that lights them up, and we're all good at different things. But becoming a mum, my perspective changed a little bit on, I guess, everything. I remember, just the amount of nappies or wipes that you go through. And I remember standing there thinking, like, we're in a really fortunate position that we've got ourselves here to where I don't have to think twice if I need to go and buy nappies or wipes. But there's a lot of women out there, a lot of families out there that, it's a choice between nappies and food, right? So it kind of, even though my heartstrings are always pulled, I'm very much, I lead with the heart, it's amplified it even more now being a mum. And I'm like, oh my God, there's so many people in need, like we really, really need to help everybody. You
are a helper, aren't you? You got it, like you say, you got a big heart, you love helping people. Sometimes I need to tell you to stop helping everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I help others more than myself, which is...
Not everybody can be helped.
Yeah, no, and that's it. And I think... there's a line of how much you can help, but it really got me thinking as to what we can do in the business. We've always spoke about how this strategy in the HMO co-living space, it fills a need in the market, right? There's a lot of people from an affordability perspective need this housing. There's a lot from a loneliness and connections. But there's also, there's much more to that. And it's how do we not only keep going, doing what we're doing, because we're always... getting a really good outcome for our investors and the people living in there. what else can we do to really amplify this now? Let other people know and reach more and more people and let them understand that we're here and we are an option for them in that housing space. So I've started to build partnerships with different organisations, and one of them, which we've kicked off the partnership as of last week, an incredible organisation, Worthy Australia. Jennifer Ball is the CEO, and she started that off on her own quite a few years ago now, and they create safe havens for women coming out of refuge, women and children. So if a woman goes into refuge and when she leaves, she may be able to find a property. She may have been given a property, maybe it's from the Department of Communities. There's a lot of different connections as to how she can get a home. But to furnish a home when you're out of that financial stability of your relationship, that women very much can find themselves in, they go to Worthy, and Worthy fully furnish and put everything in there, from toiletries, food, to toys for the kids, to nappies, to all the beds, bed linen, all the furniture. They're absolutely gorgeous. Like, check them out, Worthy Australia. They bring these safe havens, and I remember watching them, and I love the content that they do, and I just found them really inspiring, but really like aligned. Even when we were going through, we do our little walkthroughs, like Worthy do this, and I thought there must be a connection here. So I've reached out to Jennifer, met with her. She is a gorgeous human who, was really open to having a partnership and seeing how we can help each other's brands in that way. And she helps women, and obviously women with their children, and now we're going to look at how a way for her to refer single women over to us, because there's a lot of women that come out of refuge that if they can't get into long-term accommodation, they end up going back to their perpetrator. And the statistics have gone up from like 1 a week to now 3 a week. 3 women per week are killed by their partner or ex-partner. So people go back. Sometimes they go back because they're drawn to go back, but a lot of times it's because of they're scared, they haven't got the stability and financial security, nowhere else to go. And it's obviously layered with the housing shortage at the moment with regards to being able to even get into a rental. So there's actually getting into a rental, or there is women not being easily able to get into a rental, because when a landlord looks at, there's a double income coming in here, or there's a single mum here, or a single person, they look more favourably to the double income because that's the stability. So we're seeing this massive knock-on effect. So that's how we're going to partner with Worthy. They're going to do a referral process through to us, so they'll screen. We then make sure we still get the right people who still can afford it, but we can then prioritise to make sure that those people aren't going to go back to, not be able to find anywhere or go back to their perpetrator. But also with Worthy, we're going to do a yearly drop where all of our styling items that we use in our properties, we donate to Worthy, because they're all really great condition, and we use them all for the photography. We don't want all our houses always looking the same, so we're going to replenish every year and give them the pre-loved stock, or the pre-used old stock. Still loved.
Yeah.
But also, once or twice a year, we're going to do a project with them. So I am so excited for this project that we're doing this week. The whole team are joining in on Saturday. And the Department of Communities came to Worthy and asked them to furnish a safe house that they have for a family that has had to flee a violent situation. Whilst they're waiting for refuge, it gives them somewhere to stay. So they came to Worthy. Worthy came to us and said, do you want to do this in partnership? Now, what Jennifer meant was, do your team want to come and help us build the furniture? What I took from that is, let's reach out to all our investors and make sure we can fund the whole thing, so we're not tapping into any Worthy stock at all, because Worthy run on donations only. So any furniture they get, it's all on donations. So it was important that they could keep all that, and any project they do with living rooms will be funded by ourselves, by our investors, anyone who contributes. So we'll send the team there to build the furniture, but we're also going to supply everything. And oh my gosh, like the amount of response that we've had from our investors, it literally took 5 days and we got more than enough to cover what we needed for that property, so that now I can add more things in. I've actually loved doing this. Like,
it's been brilliant.
Toys,
investors just dropping a grand here, a grand there.
Oh, yeah. And people reaching out to say,
blown away
like,
by people's generosity.
Yeah. And I think it just goes to show, and I'm going to touch on this more as we go through. Well, I haven't introduced the fact that I'll be doing my podcast. You touched on it a little bit.
Damn it, you just spoiled it.
I just spoiled it. But really talking to that whole part of like, an investor needs that financial security themselves, and then they can give. So like our investors have got, some of them who've been investing with us for a while, got investments outside, they're savvy investors. They're just willing to give back now, right? They're able to do this, and it's it's very important that our investors get the money that they can make and deserve, and then we see in return how much that has impact, because they're like, that's no problem, I want to be able to support this organisation. So yes, I'm really excited about that. We do that next week.
And this really just comes down to the business growth in general, right? We've got the pipeline, the supply chain sorted, and we can keep housing singles or couples in these houses quite easily. But we've looked at the style of housing. We've got the things that are missing out there right now, the housing continuum, or the need for more housing, and who needs it the most. And this is where these partnerships are going to really work. And it's not every house that we bring through. If we deliver 150 to 200 houses a year, what we're going to do, like 2 or 3?
Yes,
maybe 5.
Yeah, well, we're going to see and this is one of many partnerships, and Jennifer, who has been in the not-for-profit space, is going to help me get more into that space so that I can be open more to different groups that need the housing. And I think it's really important that I state this now, because some people might freak out and be like, oh, are we just bringing these houses just for vulnerable people, and could that make us vulnerable as investors? I think it's really important that we understand the meaning of housing. So like, having a home is a fundamental importance to being able to rebuild yourself, to be able to go and find work, reconnect with other people, have better health, everything. It starts with that dignity of having a safe place to call home. And that is everybody from, somebody who may be, out of a DV relationship. It might be somebody who has, I'm going to venture in and talk more about the over 50 women cohort that's the fastest growing demographic of homeless. And that's all down to, different financial issues that they may have had, or they've had stability,
raising families,
they've raised family,
time out the workplace,
superannuation
system that doesn't cater for time out the workplace, so now they're hurtling towards retirement with not much money and not much in super. The system's fucked.
It is. So we've got a range of people, and this isn't to say that we're going to just be helping the people that can't afford, and they're going to have headaches and everything else. A person's a person at the end of the day, and we all come with our own issues. But to be able to give somebody this platform of a home that they can call safe, they can have their dignity, they can take their pride, not living in their cars, not trying to shower at the gym because they don't have a home. There's just so much we can help in this space. So I feel that even though I am going to be pushing and trying to create these partnerships and awareness and making sure we can attract more people to us in the property management space so that they know this housing is available, but we will be doing all the checks. We'll make sure that they can afford this. If they can't afford it, what other support do they have? What support do people have from a mental well-being perspective? This comes down to the partnership with Worthy, where Jennifer her team can help identify the women who need the most support and whether this housing would be right for them or not. So it's a case of us not just going out there on our own and going, yep, we'll help you. We actually lean on the people who know this area, know these types of people the best, and how we can better serve them, because they're going to be better for attracting into this housing.
Don't forget the government provides social housing as well, right? And we're not trying to compete with social housing, but there's a lot of people on that wait list right now, and we can help relieve the pressure from that wait list by helping the people that can actually be helped but don't have enough money to get into the private rental market. Quick story for you just before we crack on. But remember, I did a podcast with a guy called Robert Pradlin from Melbourne, from Housing All Australians. Great guy. We've kept in touch, which is good, and it looks like we're going to be doing some work together. But on the podcast, you mentioned our vision there. We see a world where everyone has access to housing because it's a basic human right. Now, Robert corrected me on the podcast and said, well, it's not actually a human right, but it's a basic human need. And we've actually changed the vision of the business to support that as well. So a world where everyone has access to housing because it's a basic human need. And like Jo said there, it's, doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, what your background is. We all deserve housing. We all need housing. If the people that are presented to us can afford our housing, then social housing is there for them. And if they can afford it, then we house them in a HMO, and then that frees up some of the social housing for the people that actually need it and can get into our houses as well.
100%. And I think as well, it's about us all working together. Like we don't bag out negative gearing. We're very much opposed to it because positive gearing just makes more sense. However, we still need all those other properties for families out there, right? We just want to fill a need so that if we can get singles and couples into our accommodation, it frees up other assets for families, right? And it's the same with if we can help alleviate people off that social housing wait list that don't need to be on that wait list because they just can't find that gap between the private rental market. So this is like an alleviation process. We can all stick to our kind of buckets in a way.
Diversity of housing, isn't it? Yeah, it's a form of housing brought to the market, which no one else is doing right now, but there's a massive need for it, a massive need. 3 reasons why they need it: affordability, convenience, and connection through people living together, right? 26% of the houses all across the country are single or lone person households, and we've got a loneliness and social isolation epidemic going on right now. So you can't tell me this housing isn't needed. You can't tell me you don't know somebody that lives on their own and is impacted by living on their own and is struggling to live on their own. And I bet there's a lot of single females out there that are living on their own that are struggling right now as well.
Yeah, and social isolation with women is apparently higher than men. Yeah, and I think
we were watching something the other night. A little old lady answered the door. I said, "There's some our target market right there."
Yeah, absolutely. And the need for human connection is it's insane.
Yeah, we love it, don't we? That's what it's all about. What other partnerships have we got on the horizon, or not only on the horizon, but like what else are you working with? Who are you working with? Talk about Worthy.
Yeah, so that's the Worthy one.
Oh, Zonta.
So Zonta, we have been speaking with Zonta. We have housed a few women who've come through who haven't got children. So this goes back to, I think it was about 2 years ago when Zonta House actually put on a seminar for property managers. And that's what really opened my eyes up to this side of the need in the market. They were coming to property managers and saying, please, can you put women coming out of refuge at the forefront to your landlords and let them know the need of this, because again, with the if they've got nowhere else to go, there's likelihood them going back to their perpetrators. So when I was sat in the audience there and thought, oh my God, we can totally help, but obviously there's only so much we can do because we currently haven't got the ability to have children in the houses. It's another area that I'd like to work on in assistance with an organisation. But I went up to the one leading the charge in this project for the Zonta Housing relocation programme and said, look, I'd love you to come down to one of our co-living houses. If you've got women who come through that are single, let us help. Tell us what you need in order for us to make these accommodation more appealing to them, safer, etc. So we did house a few, and that is an ongoing thing that we will be doing. There's more in that realm that I will be speaking with. But next stop is the over 50s. So, we've got an investor who's an awesome investor who definitely invests from the heart. And she is going to work with me on that side of how do we reach more.
She's an avid listener of the podcast as well.
Yes,
hello.
Yeah.
You are.
And a massive supporter. But she very much... wants to hit this space. So through my connections with Jennifer, I'm hoping that we can open doors in that way. So there's many more. There's a lot that I can't necessarily just talk through yet because they're not signed, sealed, delivered, but it is that's on the trajectory.
There's a lot happening.
There's
a lot happening in all areas of the business right now, right?
Yeah.
What else do you want to talk about?
What else do I want to talk about?
Essentially, right, there's a massive market out there, right? There's so much housing needed, and we can help with the tenancy side of things. We've got a very, very strong pipeline of properties coming through right now. I think we've got about 125-ish properties under construction currently. It was at about 180 at its peak last year. And then we just got about another 85 or 90 coming through the pipeline at various stages of getting market ready, under contract, going through planning or DA or build permit, and then in the ground as well. But we set a goal to deliver 10,000 rooms to the market by 2031. How's that going?
Yes, it's going. It's going well.
It's going. So with everything that we've got in the finished and everything in that pipeline right now, we'll have about 1,500 rooms all up, which is short of the target, but it's opening up more conversations with all sorts of very interesting people right now, shall we say it.
Yeah.
Spoke to a few billionaires, which is very, very interesting, spending time with people like that, the way they think. They don't think about 10,000 rooms. It's like, why not 1 million rooms? Why not 10 million rooms? And, mate, slow down. I'm just trying to think about 10,000 rooms. But these having this goal and having the impact that it does on the market and the people that it houses opens up a lot of conversations with people with money that want to do the right thing as well. So we definitely can't tell you fully yet until it's all signed, sealed, delivered, but it's like 99% there right now, and hoping that we can release something on there soon. Tell us about the podcast. Everyone's probably sick of hearing my voice. It'd be nice to get someone fresh on here as well. So what are you going to do in the podcast space?
Yeah, well, it was actually the team that said, Jo, I think we need a bit of your voice on here. No, we just want to add into the series, I guess, the impact piece. So what our investments can do and what impact that we can have. I'll be bringing on the different people. My first one will be with Jennifer Ball from Worthy, so I'll be interviewing her. We'll be talking about the impact that these collaborations have. So, there's a lot that the government try and do, but there's a lot when you talk about it that the private sector can have more impact because there's less red tape, right? So if we can have more and more private investors, bigger organisations of he who cannot be named right now that we'll talk about maybe on a different podcast, but also the connections with Worthy. If we can start doing this in a space that's outside of the government and more in that private space, there's more impact that can be made. So I want to talk to, I'll be interviewing some of our investors themselves, so the people who have built their own wealth through investing but may have come from a place where housing was fundamental to their growth. So I think that's really important. So showing how they've been able to grow for themselves on their journey and now being able to give back. Investments in general, how you have to be able to make money to then give money. I reached out to an organisation who was in the over 50s market, and this was a few years ago now. And I reached out to them and I said, this is what we do and I'd love to connect with you to see how we could help. And she just, the lady who ran it just turned around and said, you guys are just all about making money and you're not for us. And that just blew my mind, because this is where we go back to the private sector being able to have more impact. Like, the more that investors can make, the more impact that we can have.
Yeah.
If investors aren't making money, they can't reach into their own pocket.
It's an expensive hobby. You run out of money, you can't reinvest.
So it's, I guess, a bit of a mindset shift in that. I think a lot of people don't agree with that, but I think there's a lot of organisations out there. And I think that, I just want to talk about that and bring that to more. It's the oxygen mask theory, isn't it? Yeah. The whole, if the investor looks after themselves first, then they can help way more people. So that's, definitely. Effect. And, I just want to actually even delve into, so we've got, there's a group of us, so like my two besties, Deb and Tan, who are pretty much the aunties of Freddie and Flossie, and their cousin Jess Nunn, who has the Home Chaperone.
Also been on the podcast.
The four of us actually have started this thing where we do volunteering in order to catch up. So instead of going and having a coffee or lunch somewhere, we pick somewhere to go and volunteer, and that's how we connect and make memories for ourselves as well as make an impact. And they're actually going to be joining us at the Living Rooms project with Worthy next weekend. And because Jess and Chris, Home Chaperone, are awesome on anything to do with renovations and handyman focus.
Yeah.
So,
and just beautiful people.
Absolutely gorgeous people. So, yes, there's going to be a lot on that kind of connection through, volunteering, investment stability required, and the connections and partnerships that we're going to have to make housing that forefront. It'll all be housing related.
Yeah. Interesting you mentioned something there as well about the person that said, oh, you guys are just all about making money. We've heard this a few times, right? And obviously, if you follow me, I talk about investing a lot and the returns you can make a lot. But there's two sides to every coin, right? My job in the business is to attract investors to invest in this style of housing so that they can replace their income and retire early, but also help others by providing affordable housing. And one day, Joe was at a presentation, I think you presented somewhere, and someone came up with, he's going to remain unnamed, but he came up with Joe and he said, she was coming under the living room's banner at the time, and he came up to her and he said, oh, you're like HMO, but with a heart. And she was like, oh, you mean my husband, Neil? And he was like, started backpedaling. So look, obviously I care about what we're doing, right? Very proud about the housing that we deliver, the impact that it has, but like speaking to the audience that I need to speak to, I need to speak in dollars and cents, and what you're going to make out of this by investing your hard-earned money into an asset that has made our lives and many of our clients' lives just totally different, because it gives you time, freedom and choices as well. And hopefully you've learned today that it's not just about investing, it's about helping. It's about helping yourself first and foremost. Like Joe said, the oxygen mask theory, very, very important. You can't help others until you've helped yourself. But it doesn't take long to be in that position where you've actually helped yourself, and then you can have that trickle-down effect of your hard work and your determination, your success can then help so many more people around you, whether it's your family and friends or whether it's people that you don't even know, and you're donating your time, your money, and anything else that people need that you can help them with, and get to a certain point where like money actually doesn't become important anymore. And I don't mean that in an arrogant type of way. It's like you can only do so much with it, right? You can only live in one house at a time. You can only drive one car at a time. You can only go on so many holidays a year before it gets boring. But the small things that you can do when you've got the money to do so, whether it's time or whether it's a gift to someone, whatever it is, that impact that it has on you personally, for me, lasts so much longer than anything else. You buy a new house, after 2 or 3 weeks, it's just your house, right? You get a new car, after a bit, it just wears off. You're just walking to and from your own car. But you're helping these people, and you're seeing the impact that it has, and you're hearing the stories that it has and the outcomes that it's creating for people. That's what really lights you up nowadays.
Oh, I 100% agree. And I think that I talked to you about the other day, I had this like moment where I just I'd gone into the office for one meeting, and then I came out and I had other things to do that day that were outside of work, and I just had this moment of feeling really grateful that we've got ourselves to this position where I don't need to be in the business the full time. I'm able to have someone to look after the kids should I want to go off and do other things, but mainly now that my focus can go wherever it wants to go, and like being able to do these impact pieces, volunteering or creating these projects or these partnerships, it just completely lights me up. But I couldn't do that if we hadn't set ourselves up to do that in the first place. So it's that full kind of circle moment of like you need that stability yourself to be able to do it. And now I feel like I'm in that space that this is where I can focus. I can have a lot of focus in this space. I'm very grateful that we've been able to set ourselves up in order to do that.
And I think this all started with one property that we didn't know whether it was going to work. There was uncertainty, there was fear, there was doubt. There's all the things that you're thinking now as an investor. Is this co-living thing real? Is it a trend? Is it a bubble? Is it here to stay? Can you make the type of money that these guys are talking about? Like, we thought all of them things. In fact, like when we first started investing, we had no idea we were going to end up doing what we're doing now, helping the people that we're helping and having the impact that we're having. But it did just start with one property, then another one, then another one. It starts off slow, the journey, but no matter where you are. Now, if you're more advanced and you're seeing that compound effect working, then your journey will be speeding up. But at the start, it's what your first property, then it's your second, and then it's your third, and then it starts to steamroll from there. So I suppose that leads us nicely to wrapping up there, right? Unless you've got anything else to talk about.
No.
Do you know what my sign-off tagline is? Thanks for listening to the podcast.
No, hang on. But I knew the one from the... This is terrible.
Which one?
I knew the one when you had the other podcast.
It's the same one.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Every winner was first a beginner. Every master was once a disaster.
That's it. That's it. But it finishes that nicely,
Yeah.
right? Because we started with one property, right?
I do listen to the podcast.
Yeah. We were, no, it sounds like it. We'd started with one, right? Every winner was once a beginner, every master was once a disaster. Like, it doesn't matter where you are, you just need to get started. And it's going to be slow, it's going to be clunky, it's going to be painful, you're going to have sleepless nights. Things are going to go wrong, you know what I mean? But the person you become, and you touched on this earlier, like I threw myself into this journey, this personal development, because I started to realise it was the more I thought I knew, the more there was to learn. No matter where you are in your journey right now, like you can just learn as you go. One of the guys I follow, Rob Murray, he's released a book called Start Now, Get Perfect Later. It's exactly what you need to do. All this knowledge that you're acquiring will mean nothing if you do not put it into action, if you do not move forward. So every master was once a disaster. Every winner was once a beginner.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you tune in the same time next week so you can stay up to date with all cash flow positive property updates.